Okay, the hurricane has washed ashore down there in Jamaica, and it appears to be weakening as it goes across, but we'll see. You know, these things are almost never as bad as what they the buildup says they're going to be. But there's no question about it. Those people are getting pounded, and then the damage moves on to Cuba. It's going to probably cause a lot of flooding damage in Haiti, and then the damage will continue in America as the taxpayers get hit to clean all this crap up. They're down there praying for relief and protection from God. We need Trump to protect the American taxpayers so we don't get on the hook for the whole darn thing. But that's what we need to discuss. So here we are with another episode of What They Don't Say. Because right now, nobody's saying this. You got to feel bad for anybody that gets caught in that kind of a storm. But then again, they live in Jamaica. I mean, hurricanes are traditional down there. Everybody knows it. But it's kind of interesting. Those island nations, they used to all be owned by the Dutch, the French, the Spanish. They said, oh, we want to be independent nations. We're going to be independent nations, man, have our own government, man. Well, and they have until it comes time there's an emergency. Then they always look to the world and say, oh, we're so small and weak and pitiful, we got to have someone else bail us out. I was curious. So I did a little cursory research into the finances, the capital flow of Jamaica. And they brag, they say, well, we have a lot of mining, man. Yeah, we have agricultural industry, man. Yeah, they grow bananas, and now we're going to have the great banana shortage of 2025, probably. You know, that always happens. For all of their bragging about all the industry they've got, over 70% of their economy is based on tourism, and most of that is Americans. So they're living on American money about any way you look at it, and they're going to go right back to the well again. Well, do you want to be a charity country, which is what they all are? Wouldn't it be better to be part of your own, or even combine all of those into a nation, like they've done over in Indonesia? So you got combined resources. Because right now they always have to go begging, and they do, and they get it. However, most of what they get comes from America. Now we do know what they're going to do when the hurricane does end and they are trying to get help down there. First thing they're going to do is they're going to go out and find a cute little Haitian kid with big eyes. And they're going to rub dirt on them, whatever they got to do. They're going to make them look really sad and pathetic with those big shining eyes. And they're going to say, we need help. Can't you help this poor little girl? This poor little girl ain't going to make it because you ain't helping. Send your money. Commit to spending $19.99 a month for Haitian relief. Yeah, okay. We know it's coming. We know what they're going to do. You know, if you want to send some money, go ahead. That's your choice. Find a fund, send it to it. Don't make it mandatory for everyone in America that has a job that pays taxes. You notice when we have a storm up here, like Hurricane Helene that came up, we didn't get a lot of international help fixing that thing up, and we sure needed it. Those people still need help they're not getting. Where's the international help for that? We're the ones, it's a one-way fund with us. It goes out, it never comes back in. Let the UN do this. Trump has done really well at having pre-positioned assets. When we know the storms are coming, the electrical trucks, the supply trucks, and everything, they're all lined up on the highways and the old factory parking lots. They're sitting somewhere with resources, generators, supplies, chainsaws, volunteer help. They're all ready to go the minute it ends. They knew this storm was coming for 2 weeks. They first started talking about it 2 weeks ago. They had it narrowed down really good, as much as a week ago. There aren't any pre-positioned relief assets. What the hell does the UN do? But we know when it's over with, it doesn't look like it's as bad as what they thought it was going to be. Like I said, they never are. There's a lot of Jamaica that's still getting an awful lot of damage. They're going to have much for a grid. They're going to need the help, and they're going to get it, of course. Cuba, To hell with Cuba. We got Guantanamo Bay, Gitmo. We're going to take care of that as we should. But what about Haiti? They're sitting over there basically under jungle law. How do you help a nation? How do you send aid in to a nation that doesn't have a government? There's nobody there but a bunch of Haitians that are living in misery. You know, over in Jamaica right now, there's 25,000 vacationers there. 25,000 tourists sitting out the hurricane. Can you imagine that? But, you know, you wait all year, you go, right? You go and you just keep your fingers crossed. But over in Haiti, nah, they don't really have much of a tourist business because the island is literally run by a warlord who goes by the name of Barbecue. And I'm not kidding. Look it up if you don't believe me, if you haven't already heard it. About a year and a half ago, maybe 14 months ago, this guy pretty much took over the government of Haiti. Or he kicked the government out. He didn't take it over because they really don't have one right now. So he basically made it too dangerous for the government to be there. The guy walks around with fully automatic weapons that he got somewhere off of the black market. They had a run on the prisons, and they released a bunch of their gangbanger friends. And Haiti is basically under control of gangbanger rebel. They call themselves rebels. They're just criminals. So the UN, they decided, well, we're going to go in there. We're going to fix this. This was about a year ago. So they go in and they've got some heavily fortified compound, and they set up a building and some offices. They call it some sort of provisional government. They call it a TPC. I don't remember what the acronym stands for, but it's provisional government, and it doesn't really matter because it has no control. However, I checked the resources that we've been given to these people. Jamaica, last figures available, you can never get the up-to-date ones. Last figures available, we had given Jamaica $38.4 million in 2023. I'm not sure what that was for, but you know, they got to keep the funding streams open because that's how these people in Congress get rich off of kickbacks after all. But we had given $110 million to Haiti. Who the hell do you even give it to down there? And the problem with this is there's never any accountability. Okay, you give it to these people, you trust them to spend it wisely? We throw so much money around rat holes like that, then it all just gets plundered and wasted. But how do they even justify this? They say, here's the breakdown here with money they sent to Haiti. Here's a few of the things they said it's going to be helping with assisting with. Climate? You think barbecue cares about the climate future? How do you even invest against the climate? Come on. They've been using climate for a ripoff for so long. What are they doing? Installing turbines? Solar panels on the mountaintops? These people don't even have power. They live in a dump. You think they're really worried about climate change? They're worried about getting shot by barbecues, man. They're worried about barbecues boys coming in, raping their wives in the middle of the night. You think they give a rat's ass about the climate? And our government pretends that they're sending money down there to assist with the climate? They don't even have a government, and we send them 3 times as much as we send to Jamaica, which is safe for tourists to go to? You know we're being robbed. These government officials and the career State Department people that stay there no matter which administration, no matter which party's in charge. They've got career people in the State Department that have 20, 30 years of connections in these places. So they're the ones that receive that money on that end, and there's no accountability for it. And then the kickbacks start. Then the contracts go to people who are friends of these politicians. You wonder how come congressmen get rich on $174,000 a year? You wonder how they become multimillionaires? It's because of bullshit like this. That money gets sent down there, then it goes out into the world of banking, and they hide it. They launder the money. It's well known that there's global money laundering operations, and our old State Department employees know all of this. All the people in these agencies, they know how it works. They live and breathe this every day. We send the money down there. We don't know where it really goes after that, do we? One of the problems they've got in Haiti is there's too much breeding going on down there. They got a lot more people than that little chunk of land needs. If you look at these houses, you know why they're so close together? Think about it. It's because there's no sidewalks, there's no streets, there's no gutters. When they get soaked in a rain, there's nowhere for the water to go. It slams into the back of one house, goes down and slams in the back of another one, and it's just pure mud. But literally, those people crawl around between those houses like a frigging goat. It is as uncivilized as civilization can get. These places are just dumps on a hill. I don't know how many of them are going to come sliding down the hill, but you know when one kicks loose at the top, the others down below are just basically multicolored bowling pins. That's what's going to happen, but that happens a lot. You know, they had that really bad earthquake down there in Haiti in what, 2009, 2010? And the Clintons and Bushes, who have always been in bed together, they really did more to advance the Uniparty than anybody in history. They pretty much gave it the framework. However, they decided that there was going to be a Clinton Bush Fund or Foundation, and Bill Clinton says, "Well, I don't care about anything but Haiti. It's the only thing that matters to me in my retirement." Boom! He couldn't get down to Haiti fast enough, and he bangs around down there for a little bit. And they bought a bunch of those tarps, those blue tarps. What are they? Back then, I think they were like $4, $6 a piece. He bought a boatload of those with Clinton Foundation money, right? Contributions from the government, and they covered up a lot of these huts with those blue tarps. Boom! Next thing you know, those people are still living in miserable squalor. They had no functioning economy. And Bill Clinton's like, "Okay, I guess we're all done here, y'all." And he takes off and goes back to America. Hasn't looked back, except there's millions of dollars missing from that fund that they were supposed to be using to repair the place. Everyone's looking around saying, "Hey, wait a minute, what happened to all that money?" Bill's like, "Well, we spent that. We fixed them up." Except they didn't get fixed. And that place has just been a dump ever since. It was a dump before that. And now here they are. They got no government. So when they're going to need some help, who the hell is going to help them? Where do you send the money? They don't have a government. You can't go down there and say, "Okay, we're just going to give you these supplies. Come and get it." Those people will shoot you. That is a war zone going on down there right now. Relief workers and aid workers will not be safe. The only thing you can do is airdrop it in on pallets. Well, how do you do that with building materials? And what good would it even do to send building materials? Because these people, it's like Gaza. Any aid you send there is going to be stolen by the warlords that are running the place. Just think of this barbecue. And like I said, I'm not kidding. That's the guy's name that he goes by, is barbecue. You know, y'all got street names, like Little Crow, DD, barbecue. Yeah, barbecue the big dog. You get shot if you try to distribute goods down there. If you try to distribute aid, it isn't safe. So what do? But one thing for sure, the American taxpayers should not be on the hook for this. I'll guarantee you, a lot of churches, a lot of good people are going to want to help. Let them. Let it be voluntary. Let the churches get together, because one thing for sure, you can only help them to a certain extent, a certain minimal extent. Jamaica's a lot better off than Haiti because of the fact they at least do have government, but a lot of their damage is going to be caused by their own lack of preparation, too. It was funny because before the storm hit, they had a news report. I don't remember if it was Fox or somebody else. I was just flipping through watching everything. And a reporter was out there. and trying to gin up a story, making it look like it was full panic because the storm was coming and everybody's in a flurry of activity. And he's out there with his camera crew, and he says, "Over here, over here, they're busy. They're hustling. They're getting sandbags ready. We got this crew right here." So the camera pans over the crew, and there's about 8 or 9 of these guys standing there. A couple of them leaning on their shovels. The rest are leaning up against the pickup. Great big pile of sand, like a dump truck had just dumped it. Maybe 15 bags filled up. And the guys are just standing there laughing and talking. This is like 10 hours before the storm was supposed to hit. And the reporter, he said, yeah, they're hustling, they're getting the sandbags ready. And when the camera showed that, he says, well, he said, right now, I think they're taking a break. Let's go down here. So they go down to this store down the road. And he says, this is a big home supply store. He says, people are in here, they're getting ready, they're getting supplies, they're getting materials, they're going to strengthen their homes. He says they have furniture here, they have home remodeling supplies. They've got everything these people need in an emergency. So he goes walking in the door and he's hustling the cameraman to keep up with him. And they get inside and people are just kind of standing around. They're walking around with their hands in their pockets. They're not carrying anything. You know, before America gets hit with a storm, they always show, you know, they'll have the Home Depot or the Lowe's or Menards. And there's 30 carts deep at the cash registers. And people got generators and chainsaws and all kinds, you know, plastic and all sorts of different things, stacks of plywood. And these people were just walking around like it was just a nice summer day. Nothing to hurry for. The guy was trying so hard to make it look like there was a panic. And it's like these people that didn't register, I think they were so accustomed to having these hurricanes come and go, they don't really take them seriously. But they did find one car on the side of the road. It was an SUV that had a stack of plywood on top. And he said, here we go. He said, these people are doing this. This is how they're getting ready. And there's, I don't know, about 8 or 10 sheets of what looked like half-inch plywood particle board on top of this car. And it was strapped down to the top with pallet wrap, you know, the stretchy poly film. It was strapped down to the car and there wasn't a soul around. Now, down at the end of the street, they had a construction crew. This guy looked like a professional setup. There's a big office building. And they had a construction crew up there putting plywood up like anybody would normally anywhere else in the world. And they were just a crew working. It's like, look at that. They got one building that's going to be ready. But that's another thing. During the course of the day, they've been showing these reports. And, you know, I've watched a lot of them. And they were showing how these people prepared their houses. They taped the windows. The reporter was even surprised. He said, you know, I thought these windows would all be boarded up. But then again, you've got to have resources to do that, don't you? I don't know how many people in Haiti actually have their own vehicles. I don't know how many of them ride around on bikes. I see a lot of bikes. I don't know what resources or capabilities these people have, but there wasn't much done to prepare these houses. So I've been researching it all because that's what I do. I suffer for my audience. And since we're on that topic, you know, this is a fairly new channel. We're still trying to bust through the ceiling of the YouTube algorithm. And I tell you, it's important. If you're a person, you go to a restaurant and you tip the help, the servers, the waiters, whatever. In YouTube, how you tip a person is you hit the like, you make a comment, share it around, whatever. But that's the only way they know that you're really caring enough to watch. So I hope we do give you something here that is worth hitting the like button on. Please subscribe because I don't care what the topic is. We're only going to tell you stuff like this that you're just not going to hear anywhere else because there isn't anybody else reporting on the fact that, no, these people really didn't do much to prepare. Like I say, maybe when you get a hurricane every couple of years, you don't worry about it much, except for the fact that they warned how bad this one's going to be. Maybe they overplayed their hand. That'll make it more dangerous next time. But it really looks like most of the hurricane is going to be over on the west side of the island. It's already proven out that way. And a lot of the big cities like Kingston, they got missed by the direct stuff. We don't know how much of that's going to wash away in floods. But I see a lot of that. It looks like it's petering out as it goes across Jamaica, which they didn't expect. So here we go. It's going to get turned loose. It's going to finish on Jamaica, and then we'll start finding out because they've already lost all their cell phone service. You know they don't have much power out there. They say 4 to 5 days after a natural disaster, when you lose all of your power and there aren't any stores or anything open, they say that's when society starts to break down. So that's the international window that they try to adhere to when they're considering storm aid. They try to get it done within those 4 or 5 days. They try to get people knowing that there is an inflow of assistance. I just don't think the U.S. taxpayer should have to pay for it all. They got that 4 or 5 day window. It'll probably be a day or two before we really get the story of how bad it is. But meanwhile, it's still pouring down rain over there in Haiti, and barbecue ain't gonna let no white people come in there and take over his island. You know, the UN, they aren't even supporting their own people that are there. They put in that fake government, said, oh, all right, well, I guess we fix this, and they're still working at it. But they aren't doing anything. It's time the UN stepped up. Why do they have, 187 countries in there when they never do anything except bitch about America and support Islam? Let them get in there. Where are all these Islamic countries? Where is the aid that comes from them? It is time for someone else to step up and take care of some of these problems because America's been tapped out. We've done our share. We've done enough. All the volunteer help from America, everything the churches want us done, God bless them, let them do it. It's charity of their heart, not mandatory theft of tax money, not reappropriating money they told us they had to take from us because they needed it for something else. Our tax money is not a slush fund for them to pile up and say, okay, we decided we're going to spend some over here and this is important over here. No, it's not that. It's supposed to be specific. We're already in national debt, record level. Stop taking money from us and giving it away. Let the charitable hearts do that. We got to get this right, my friends. If we do, maybe God will continue to bless this great country of ours. Thanks for listening.